Hi, my name is Praise Ganiyu and you are welcome to One Soaking Channel, your #1 gospel channel in Nigeria, West Africa and in the world at large. Here you're going to be getting messages that will edify you and also build up your spiritual stamina. So kindly subscribe, like, drop your comments and also turn on your notification bell so you can get notified when we drop any other videos. Thank you.
The youth of one church invited me to come and do night vigil with them. Night vigil, power, is it power night or something? It's a good invitation, but I don't have to, They say you come and for power, the youth, they want power. If it was a few years ago, that would have been on the front burner. You're not with me. But now they are wrong. If they want power night, they should come and call Pastor Tony. He has enough power for them for all the night. Do you understand? Now, you see, you are not understanding me. What you are hearing is that I'm saying that I'm a big preacher. No, you are not getting it. I am not above power night. But in my current emphasis, power night is not a priority. So I can avoid it. Because staying with my wife that night is more important than that power night. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Because the emphasis has shifted and I'm incubating something else now. I was invited to a place that every young preacher will feel is promotion for you to be invited to. And I told them, sorry, I can't come. They changed the date. I said, even this one is worse. This new date is worse. You know why? The emphasis for my life is not to be, that is not the emphasis. You see, if we look at your life and we know that there is something that you are incubating, we will see we will know it with your convictions, your lifestyle. That man was waiting for 60 years for the consolation of Israel. If you don't know what is his driving force, you will say God has imprisoned him. God has dealt with this one. For 60 years, he needs to come again and again to the temple to see if that monarch that was spoken about will be brought in for dedication. And then you look at him and say, this is a mental disorder. And the guy is not concerned about the name. You call him, there is something he's incubating. And it is until God accomplishes that which he has spoken to him that the shelf life, the energy that word gives will now be taken away. It will dissipate. Once upon a time, the Lord encountered me. And the Lord said, if I put what he said in human time, if you say it as slowly as possible, it will be 9 seconds. He said, the youth. He said it 4 times. He said, use your power of sight to deliver them from distraction, and I will open the gates of nations to you. That was December 2009 that Jesus said this. When Jesus said that to me in December 2009, then I was working in the petroleum industry. That was when I received the first mandate. You know, an apostle is a sent one. Don't claim you're an apostle if Jesus has not sent you. It's not a title. It's a sent one. One that is multi-gifted, whose life is summed up in the fact that there is a message he is sent to bear. That's what Elijah was. The Tishbite. Tishbite means messenger. So Elijah is a description of an apostle. You don't have the honors that accompany that function if Jesus himself has not sent you. Right? So the first errand Jesus was sending me was to the youth of my generation. Meanwhile, I was a preacher a long time before 2009. In fact, I started preaching formally in 1994. Were you born then? You were born in 1994? How old were you then? You were 2 years. Okay. I went to Bible school then. That was the year I went to Bible school. So I was a preacher, I was a teacher. I was a teacher of the Word of God. And I was in the office of the teacher for a very long time until Jesus sent me. The moment Jesus sends you, he gives you authority. There must be an evidence that you are going to present that you were sent. So the economy of the grace of God on your life is bound to shift if Jesus sends you. So Jesus encountered me and commissioned me to go to the mission field of the youth of my generation. Then I was working in the oil industry. And because the presence of God that accompanied that encounter that I had was so palpable, when I came back from that trip, I drew up a budget because I used to pay for my tickets in January. All my flight tickets, I pay for them in January. So I used to take like how many flights a year. Those days I used to keep the boarding passes just to be able to count how many trips I did until they became a burden in my apartment in Lagos. So I used to do flights for 1.7 million to 2.3 million annually. Can you imagine that? Okay, you can't imagine. Not today, I'm talking about years ago. So I hopped from campus to campus. Ahmadu Bello University, University of the one in Mina, Foot Mina, the one in Sokoto. What's the name of it? So I've gone round, not once. And in the process, I went around Nigeria about 6 times. The reason why I was doing what I was doing, and people were saying that I was a fool, that I was going to involve myself with youth ministry and there's no money there. But you see, the issue was not about money, it was that Jesus spoke to me. And the proof that he spoke was the errand that I was running. Just like Simeon was waiting for the consolation of Israel because God had given him a promise that he was going to visit Israel in his generation, in his lifetime. All right? So many people call me and say, oh, you are doing a great job. It's just that your mission is not sustainable. When you do ministry, the financial aspect must be in good shape so that you will know that there is some prospects attached to your labor. Meanwhile, Jesus didn't discuss financial issues. Jesus just came and gave an instruction. You see, you can allow that moment die and you are no longer incubating it in your heart. This man I don't know for how long he kept that moment alive. But when we read about Prophetess Anne, you will see that that moment was more than 60 years. And for some of you here, God just spoke to you last year. And the word is no longer alive in your heart. Because you have allowed circumstances and situations to become more real than what God had spoken into your heart. So your heart is no longer an incubator. So even though the potential of the encounter you had sustained a shelf life that can expand for 1,000 years if God so wishes, your womb became a grave for what was alive. So I kept doing that 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, preaching here, go NCCF, I'll move here, move to campuses. I was doing what God sent me to do. Meanwhile, this work had started there. But in order for me to do that one faithfully, I had to hand over so that I could do that one. Now, is it reasonable in the current training we have as pastors today? Is there a provision for you to be in active pastoring and there's a congregation under you and you hand over? You are not old, you are not sick, you are not about to die. But you see, the reason why it is so is because there is a word that is alive inside. So I left the stage and I began to do the one he told me to do. Meanwhile, there was a time I was pastoring here and I felt so fulfilled. And then that instruction now came. And pastoring here was no longer as fulfilled as being on the field. So I had to do the needful to create an administrative system through which this one can be going and I can go about what the great one was asking me to do. All of those sacrifices that had to be put in place was because there was something alive in my heart. And from 2009, 12th of December, when I had that encounter, till 2019, that's 10 years, I was going the rounds. In 2019, on the 16th of August, I was in Uyo, just entering into the hotel that they booked for me for a meeting. And as I entered into the hotel, then Jesus now begins to speak again. That I have come to set you free, so that where I am, there also will my servant be. That kind of speaking is too vague. So I said, wait, where are you? That's the first question. Am I in bondage? What kind of bondage are you talking about? And all of that. So there are many. So if God speaks, don't claim you know what He means, and don't use your brain to interpret it. So the question was, where are you? So the great one now told me, did I not tell you that if you are faithful to the youth, I'll open the gates of the nations to you? As far as you are concerned, now I am in the nations. So what I want you to be freed from is your job, because you cannot hold that job and be jumping with me in the nations. So the jumping you did for 10 years was a training. But I didn't know then. But you know what? I did it with all my life. So I don't need to look back. There was nothing I didn't do for those 10 years. When the 10 years were accomplished, the now said it's on the field, in the nations, that I should go and resign. My job is a prison. Are you there? Something is living. And the time he asked me to resign was the time. But you know what? I had seen the faithfulness of God. And I knew that what I had experienced with God was not the best that God could give me. So I didn't consider that job and the prospects that He had at the time that God was asking me to leave it to be anything compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. So I put in my resignation on the 5th of October, because Jesus said, where was He? In the nations. Something was living. It means that the shelf life of the first encounter was 10 years, but I didn't know. The shelf life was for 10 years. That first word. It was valid for 10 years. And you know, He never told me that I will need to be calling people to do programs for me. They will open the gates for you. So we didn't link anything, we didn't do anything, just from this place all over the world by Himself. And when you come, you go to a mission field before the time, you might be loaded, but nobody will pay attention to what you are carrying. But when you come at the right time, it will look as if they were waiting for you to come. Even if you say ABC, someone's eyes, blind eyes will open. I was telling some people that it's not about what I preach. If I say A, B, C, someone will be healed. A, B, C. All right? It's not ABC can produce because I have authority to go to the nation. Long ago, I wanted to go for some invitations I had. I'd already prepared my papers and things like that to go, and then I had a dream. And I saw that I entered into a certain country and we're in a long line, giving our passports to the immigration people, and they will stamp you in. When my own time came, I gave them my passport and there was no visa on it. I said, Lord, this is not a good sign. What are you saying? He told me that the fact that you have money to buy ticket doesn't mean that I'm giving you a mandate to go represent me in that place you are going. That was how I stopped all those things, and I stayed back. Don't promote yourself. There will be opportunities for you to promote yourself before your time. Don't ever estimate yourself higher than the assignment God has given you. There was no visa on the passport. No visa. So I was invited to come officiate a wedding in Germany. I applied. No. Because of that dream I had, there was no need for me to go apply. I called Ten and said, this is how you do wedding. Go. Another time again, I was supposed to go to Germany. I called him. I said, you know the ropes. You know how to go to Germany. Go again. So 10 hours more than I called him. I said, this is your pastor. Has he gone to Germany before? I said, no. No? Yes. And he's sending you? What kind of man is that? You know what? You know the kind of man? The kind of man that had an encounter that he had no visa. That is why I didn't go. God was saying, that is not the, I'm not there. Remain on campus. So I fastened my seat belts and I was hopping everywhere. I went to University of, what they call, Cross River State. What they call? No. One in Port Harcourt, River State University. The people that were, I don't know what they call it, but the demons, the people that were possessed on that campus, the possession rate was the highest that I've ever seen in all my journeys from place to place preaching the gospel. Demons scream. Once and again, Jesus will come and say, this is what I want you to be doing, not passport. A time came, my friends in the UK invited me. They said, you just come. So I just put an application. No. Put another one. No. Which one did I put again? Canada. They say, come and preach. I put one. And I went to my father and I said, there's a limitation on my life. He said, young man, there's no limitation. It's not time. I said, what kind of thing? Don't promote yourself. Don't promote yourself before the time. So my appetite for international ministry died. So we'll continue the campaign until I had that encounter. I have come to set you free, so that where I am, there also will my servant be. When I investigated what he was talking about, it became clear to me that he was in the nations. And you know all the other encounters I've had about some nations that God allocated and said, these places, your efforts is going to change the foundation of Christianity in these nations. He had said some stuff like that. And I was in one of them, namely Ghana. And I felt like lying on the ground while I was preaching to worship my God. And as I laid on the ground, I saw a bright light. Whether I saw it with my physical eyes or spiritual eyes, I don't know the difference. But I saw a bright light and it was coming like that. And that light is not white. This you think this thing is white? It's black. When you see the light I'm talking about. So I now said, don't come like this. So if you come like this, how many people will be qualified? Say, no, I've not come to judge. That this is my presence that will accompany you to the United Kingdom. Every nation I've gone since that day, that light follows me there. You know, I told you that if God sends you, he will give you authority so that it will be evident that he's the one that has dispatched you. If you go by yourself, maybe you hustle and you get you will not like the experience. Just like a friend of mine hustled, got an invitation somewhere, and when he went there, a cobra beat him. Throughout the meeting, he was in the hospital. He accumulated debt for because there was no grace on him. So the person that invited him had to bear the burden of hosting a man that was not licensed for that mission. And since that day that they invited him, he's not been invited again. Because the story about his cobra experience has spread. Now, God, the heart of the service of God is the will of Jesus. It's about Jesus. It's not about you becoming a star. It's about Jesus. So my father in the Lord said, there's nothing wrong with you, but it is not yet time. The time the United Kingdom gave me the first visa, I did a lot of wrong things in the application. The one that was accurate, they didn't give. They told me in the office that this letter that has our letterheaded and our embossment, no organization can deny it. I said, I believe. They denied me. They denied me. My pay slips, my salaries, everything endorsed by salaries and wages. They denied me. The one they gave me, I didn't put all those things. And I went to London for 4 days. The hand of God came down. You see, I pray that what God has told you will not die. It will be living inside. You will conduct yourself in a way that is evident that there is something that God spoke over your life that you are incubating. It's something that God spoke. There's something that God spoke that you are incubating. So when it became evident that Jesus was on the field, I knew I had to do something, and what I had to do was to hand over this one format. Oh, people will say, you have built a magnificent building. A building is nothing if Jesus is not inside. So I had to look for the man that had the grace to manage affairs in that building. Thank God for that building, but I'm not there, because in my own life, he's on the field. So when you see people operate in such a way that you look at them, there's no reason for these people to operate like this, and they continue in those ways, it is proof that there is something living. There's a moment that is living inside of them. I pray that the moment God wants you to incubate will not die. Because if those moments have died, it means you have a name that you live, but you are dead. Now I can tell you with authority that our times, our seasons are measured by it. I remember I had money when I was 30 years old, and I now said, okay, I'll marry at the age of 30. I was washing my car one morning when God said, you will not marry at 30. I went into spiritual warfare instantly and bound that voice. And the moment I finished binding that voice, that same day, I don't know, my mother-in-law just didn't accept me again. And that battle continued until the next year when I was 31. So when I sat down to evaluate the situation, I discovered that there was a calendar that my life was structured on. And it did not matter whether my cousin married at 24. If I'm in alignment with God as it is written on that calendar, that's how my life begins to play out. From that time, I don't compare myself with other people, because I know that my own schedule is absolutely different, and God did not consider any other person's life before he gave me that schedule. I remember in Lagos, a friend of mine bought Benz 350 2010 model. 2010 model Benz 350, the Jeep ML 350. So he gave me a lift. So he now asked me, what do you use your money for? I told him, we are learning from you, and this is a wonderful vehicle. How much is this? It says 4 million. You know what I use my money for? Air tickets, flights to go to the next crusade. That's what I use it for. You know what I use it for? This work. For many years, our dressing, me and my wife, were not new. And we did it joyfully. It was if you take it away from us, we would die. You know why? Not because we didn't have money. That house I'm staying in, the time I built it, I had money to build a mansion there. Something was living inside. This is the only woman that can be my wife. If I take my bag and I'm going, I've gone. It's either I accomplish what Jesus is saying or I die. Every time I came back, it's because I won. And I came back like that many times. God spoke to you 2 years ago, and you're already weary. Will you have been able to fulfill what Simeon fulfilled when for 60 years he went to check the temple, just in case that word will come to pass? Wise men said the other day that we are either like milk or wine, because milk spoils with time, but wine gets better with time. There are people that time crush, their quality diminishes, but some others are made strong with the passage of time. Is anything still living in your heart? Oh, there were many friends I used to have before that felt that I was not wise, that what I was supposed to be doing was to consolidate this aspect of the ministry, because this is where money will come. And I was busy jumping from place to place. All that they did not know was the encounter I had with Jesus. Many of them want to come back now. You know how you know your friends? The people that can stay through that darkness. Don't come into lamplight and then try to, even up. It means you have forgotten when God took you from the sheepcote. There are people that are preaching the gospel that are not loyal to Jesus. And in every generation, God will allow some false people to rise too. You know why? So that if you want to give an example of someone that missed the way, you'll be able to call them. You know this person, you will make them popular. It's just like a calabash. If it breaks, it's still useful. Use it to pack debt. It's very effective. God will allow some people that are not loyal to him to rise, in order to be able to give examples to upcoming people. This is how this man. Destiny, wait on Jesus. Wait on Jesus.
Thank you for watching. And if this video has blessed you, please like, kindly subscribe, and also tap on the notification bell so you can stay notified and updated on our new videos. And please do not forget to share the link to people so we can bless more people. And most importantly, we want to know how this video has blessed you under the comment section.
Don't forget to subscribe.